Hi friends, welcome back to yet another flower tutorial. Today we are going to be making this flower that has frills along the edge of its petals. Like you can see, I initially made a flower without frills, and this time we are making this one. So I have made this before, and this is how it turned out on my client. And today you're going to be learning how to make the flower before you learn how to make the bralette. So let's dive into what we need for this tutorial and get started. Hi friends, welcome back to Anita Crochets. My name is Anita. I am going to be sharing with you how to make a flower I made for bralette, and later on you will learn how to make the bralette, or you could use this flower as a plique and put it onto a top. I'm going to be putting it onto a top of mine that I've already worked for the puff ruffle stitch puff stitch ruffle skirt, which has a tutorial already on my channel. I'm going to be using this flower on its top, and the tutorial for the top is also going to be available on my channel, so you should check it out. And if you're coming through to watch the tutorial for this flower after you have watched the tutorial for the top, then you're also welcome. So here is the yarn I'm going to be using for this project. Obviously it is different yarn types. This is all light fingering yarn. I'm going to be doubling my strands, but somewhere you will need light fingering yarn, okay? For the ruffles that go around the petals of our flower, you're going to need light fingering yarn to do that, okay? Then this is décor yarn. So what I will advise you guys to have is have one color. The color that is going to go around your petals should be light fingering yarn, and then the one that is going to work your petals should be décor yarn, all right? Then I am going to be working with a 3.5mm hook. You'll need a pair of scissors, and now let's get started. So this is the yarn I'm going to be using for the center of my flower, and to start that off you are going to work a slip knot, just like so. First we are going to chain 3. This is just to create a little hole. Then we are going to get into the first chain stitch of the 3 chains, just like that. So we have this little hole in between, okay, which may not be visible because I also don't want it to be big, but yes, it is in between there. All right, now we are going to chain 3. 3 of the chains count as a double crochet stitch, so we are going to get into the gap of the chain 3 space, okay, right there, and in there you're going to work 9 double crochets. So okay, so there are 9. So let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Remember we said that the 3 chains count as a double crochet stitch, so let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, so the total number should be 10. Why? Because we said that chain 3 counts as a double crochet stitch. So we are going to get into the 3rd chain stitch of the 3 chains that started the row, and in there we are going to work a slip stitch. Here you can change your yarn. Now here what we do is we are going to chain 2. Into this very first stitch we are going to work 2 half double crochets. The chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch, guys, it's just my turning chains. So we'll work 2 half double crochets. Okay, so we get into this next stitch right here, and in there we are going to work 2 half double crochets. There we go. Once again we get into this next stitch, work our 2 half double crochets. So on this row we are just going to work 2 half double crochets into every stitch all the way until we come to the end of our row. So on this row I expect you guys to have 20 stitches. Okay, so once you have come to the end of your row, your work should look like this, and here you're going to work a slip stitch into the second chain stitch of the second chain that that's 2 chains that started the row. So this is how your work should look like. Okay, don't mind about the project because I was now working another flower for some other project, but yes, this is where we left off. You can keep changing colors in the manner that you want. You can choose whichever colors you want to work with. So when you get to this point, you're going to chain 4, which is going to count as a treble crochet stitch. Okay, and then you're going to yarn over twice, get into the next stitch, okay, in there, and you're going to work two treble crochets all in that very same stitch. Now it will feel like these two are divided. It will make you feel like you have skipped a stitch, but you haven't. I think it's from the magic knot that I worked when I was attaching this new color of yarn. But yes, when you get into the next stitch, you should work at 2 treble crochets all in that very same stitch. This will get together over time, so you don't have to worry about it. You will see that it's going to get together. Maybe it's effect from this magic knot right here. Okay, so yeah, work your second treble crochet into this very same stitch, just like that. Now we are going to work 2 treble crochets into the next 3 stitches. Okay, so we yarn over twice, get into the next stitch and work our treble crochet. Even in here we are going to work 2 treble crochets, just like that. And then we are going to head over into the next stitch as well and work 2 treble crochets. So my intention for doing this is I want to have a total number of 9 treble crochets before I start to work the other rows for my petal. So once you have all the 2 treble crochets in that stitch, you're going to yarn over twice, get into the next stitch and work 2 treble crochets into that stitch as well. All right, because we want to have a total of 9 treble crochets. Now once you have that, you are now going to chain 2 and turn your work. Right now I am working with a lighter shade of orange. Then later, to have some bit of contrast, I'm going to work with the darker shade of orange. So when you chain 2 and turn your work, the chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch. So we are going to get into this very first stitch and work 2 half double crochets. And then we are going to work 2 half double crochets into the next stitch as well. And at this point, you're just going to continue working 2 half double crochets into every stitch all the way until you come to the end of your row. Okay, so work 2 half double crochets until the end. You should have a total of 18 stitches. So here I am. I have come to the end of my row and I have 18 stitches. So we are going to now start the decrease. You will chain to turn your work. You're going to work 2 half double crochets together into the first 2 stitches, just like that, and you pull through all the loops on your hook. See that? So that's how you work a half double crochet 2 together. Then into the next stitch, you're going to work 1 half double crochet, work 1 half double crochet into the next stitch. And here you're going to keep working 1 half double crochet into every stitch all the way until you have 2 stitches left to end your row. So you're going to go all the way until you are right here where you have 2 stitches to end the row. That's where I'm going to meet you guys and then show you what to do. So here we are. I am almost at the end of my row and I have 2 stitches to end my row. Those are the 2 stitches. So what I'm going to do into these last 2 stitches is I'm going to work 2 half double crochets together into the last 2 stitches. You see that? Then you pull through all the loops on your hook. So on this row you should have a total of 16. Chain 2, turn your work. The chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch, it is just our turning chains. Even on this row we are going to work a decrease. So you work 2 half double crochets together into the first 2 stitches. And then you work 1 half double crochet into every stitch until you have 2 stitches left to end the row. So guys, on this building, on the first floor, because I'm on the second floor, the first floor has a salon and it usually has, I think they be trying to work with the hair dryer or hair, I don't know, yeah, that machine that dries the hair or something, the hand held dryer, so it makes that kind of noise in the background. I hope you guys learn to just ignore the noise, because there is nothing I can do about it. It's a business going on. I'm also a business going on. I cannot complain. We are all out here looking for money. So for as long as you guys can hear me clearly and you can get to see what I am doing, please just ignore the noise in the background, because it's not in my power. There is nothing I can do about it. Okay, so here you're going to work 1/2 double crochet in every stitch until you have 2 stitches left to end the row. The 2 stitches is this and this. Okay, so let me meet you guys there and then show you what to do. Okay, so here you go. I am almost at the end of my row and I have 2 stitches like you can see. So I'm going to get in here, pull up a loop, yarn over, get into the next, pull up a loop, and when I get here I'm just going to yarn over and pull through all the loops on my hook. So that means into the last 2 stitches we have worked 2 half double crochets together to start our next row. Now my intention, like I said, this has to be smaller than the very first flower that I made, because this is going to have ruffles running all the way along the edges of each petal. So that means for this flower it's going to be a size medium, and I am going to just decrease the number of rows I have been having. My previous flower had a total number of 9 rows for every petal, but this one is going to have a total number of 7 rows for every petal, so that we have room for our ruffles. So my work looks like I have 5 rows, but the actual truth is you should have 4 rows, which I know that you have. Now you're going to do the very same thing that we have done. You're just going to be working a decrease when starting and ending the row. So you start with 2 half double crochet, 2 together into the very first 2 stitches, and then 1 half double crochet in every stitch until you have 2 stitches left to end the row, and then you work 2 half double crochets together into the last 2 stitches. Now you're going to do that until the 6th row. So you're repeating that 2 more times until you have 6 rows in total, and on the 6th row you should have a total number of 10 stitches. So let me meet you guys there. Now the next row is not going to be of half double crochets, instead it's going to comprise of single crochets. So we chain 1 turn our work. Into this very first stitch I'm going to work a single crochet, 1 single crochet into the next, 1 single crochet into the next. Those are 3, 4. So you are going to work your single crochets until the end of the row, and you should have a total number of 10 stitches. Guys, I mean 10, I mean 10, I mean 10. Okay, then now we are going to work along this edge, and into this very same stitch I'm going to work a single crochet, work a single crochet into the joint of this half double crochet post. Then this is a half double crochet, and I'm going to just make sure I work 2 single crochets into every half double crochet post. I may work 1 single crochet into the half double crochet post itself, and then the 2nd single crochet into the joint of these 2 posts, but that is clearly up to you. You can choose the placement of your single crochets, for as long as we have 2 single crochets into every half double crochet post. Okay, so do this until you come to the end of the half double crochet posts along this edge. Into this treble crochet I am going to work 3 single crochets into the post. So once you have all 3 single crochets, you're going to now work a slip stitch into the very same stitch that worked your last treble stitch when you were starting this petal. You see that? Now we are going to go again in the exact manner we worked this petal. Okay, you chain 4, which counts as a treble crochet stitch, yarn over, get into this next stitch and work 2 treble crochets all in this very same stitch. So this flower is really simple, and because this is my very second attempt, Oh yeah, you get into the next stitch and work 2 treble crochets all in this very same stitch. Once again, go into the next stitch and work 2 treble crochets into this very same stitch. So here this means that you have a total of, let me see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and my intention is to have a total of 9 stitches. So I'm going to get into the next stitch and work 2 treble crochets all in this very same stitch, just like that. So if you see closely, this is exactly what we did on this row. However, I worked with a lighter shade of orange. I'm going to rectify this, okay, so don't worry about it. I worked with a lighter shade of orange, and because I just needed my my flower to have some bit of contrast. But at the end of the day, you can work with any colors that you choose. So moving on to this next row. It should be the last row I'm working with you guys. So when you get here, you're going to chain 2, turn your work. The chain 2 doesn't count as a half double crochet stitch, so we work 2 half double crochets into this very first stitch, and then we work 2 half double crochets into every stitch all the way until we come to the end of our row. And at the end of our row, we should have a total of 18 stitches. So basically what you're going to do for this petal, I just wanted to show you guys how to start the second petal, but exactly what we did here is what you feed here, and then you go ahead and repeat that until you have a total of 5 petals. Okay, yeah, my first tutorial for this flower was, yeah, I worked the second petal with you guys until the finish of it, but this time I am not. Yeah, but you already got that glimpse of it. You already know what to do for your whole entire petal. Just get here, work your double crochets. There should be 18 in total. Then you will get to the next row and work 2 half double crochets together into the first 2 stitches, and then you work 1 half double crochet in every stitch until you have 2 stitches left to end the row, and then into the last 2 stitches you work 2 half double crochets together. So you do this until you have 6 rows in total. Then the last row, which should be the 7th row, should be worked in single crochets, which are later worked along the edge, so that we drive back down here to the circle to start our next petal. So repeat this until you have a total of 5 petals, and I'm going to meet you after you have that to show you how to work the frills along the edges of your flower. Now this is my flower and this is how it looks like. Okay, so I have worked all the way and I have a total of 5 petals. So what we are going to do is we are going to lay each petal on top of the next petal like that. So you get this and lay it onto the next petal and onto the next petal and then onto the next petal, so that it's in a manner of the previous petal is on top of the next petal, and this on top of this, this on top of this, this on top of this, like that for all the petals. Then we are going to get our stitch markers, and we are going to also, I advise you to do this on a flat surface. So we lay our petal slightly onto the next petal, and you see that point where the 2 petals start to separate. That's where we are going to pin together. Okay, make sure that you do not lay a big portion of the previous petal onto the next petal, because in that way your flower is going to curve and fold. So do this on a flat surface to make sure that you're keeping your flower flat. Also look for that point where the petals separate, like you can see, and pin that just like that. Okay, do the very same thing for all the petals all the way around. For all those points, just make sure that you're laying a small portion of this flower petal onto the next petal just like that, and look out for that point where the petals start to separate and pin that with your stitch marker. So do this for all the petals. Then I'm going to get back to show you how we add the frills. So we are going to get our light fingering yarn. Like I told you, light fingering yarn is what I advise for you to use when you're working these frills, because you want them light and not like so thick. So what we are going to do is we are going to find a point at the bottom where we are going to start from, but what I want is I want this petal to be attached onto the next petal. So what I do into the very first stitch, I'm going to insert my hook and make sure that I get a portion of the nearest stitch on the next petal, so that this point is really attached to make it look like it was first hand sewed onto it before we worked our frills onto the stitches along the edges of these petals. But clearly I did not have the time to work to hand sew and then to hand sew the petals onto each other and then come back and work the frills. I honestly don't have the time and energy. So you're just going to take a portion of this petal and the next petal and have them worked together. You see that? To attach these two. So into that very first stitch, I'm going to pull up my loop and work a single crochet. Now I'm going to take a portion from this petal and insert my hook through onto the next stitch along the edge of the next petal, and in there I'm going to work 3 half double crochets into this very same stitch. Okay, it's going to look tricky, but there is no better way to even explain how to work these frills, honestly. And I even feel pity for those that are going to have the written tutorial for this flower, because it may end up confusing them. So once again, insert your hook in a manner that you're taking up a portion of the previous petal and then getting your hook through the next stitch along the edge of the other petal. Okay, and in here now we are going to work 4 double crochets. So initially we started with single crochets, rose up to half double crochets, and now we have risen up to double crochets. Okay, so in here you're going to work 4 double crochets into this very same stitch. I think the best thing to do is to fold your edge right here like this. It will be easy for you to like pick up a portion of this petal and then getting your hook through the next stitch on the edge of the other petal and working your 4 double crochets all in this very same stitch. I'm taking this slow because honestly you need to see the magic that goes around this. If this is confusing for you, then you will have to first hand sew your stitches, your petals onto each other, and then get back and work the frills. All right, so yes, after you have worked your 4 double crochets into that, you're still going to do the very same thing. So you see what it looks like on this side, and then I'm going to show you the back of how it looks like. So once again, you go into the next stitch that is in line with the next stitch along the edge of the petal. Insert your hook through those 2 points and then work your 4 double crochets all in the very same stitch. So our purpose for doing this is to get up to the point where we have our stitch marker, because that's where now these 2 petals separate. Okay, so once again you get a stitch from this petal and into the stitch along the edge of the other petal and work your 4 double crochets. Okay, you can work more or less depending on how you want your frills to be, but I believe that 4 double crochets into every stitch gives you the ruffles that we are looking for. So right here, as you can see, we are at that point. So I am just going to see a way of picking up a stitch from this petal and getting into the stitch on the other side, just like that, and working my 4 double crochets all in this very same stitch, just like that. So since we are now at the top of our project, what we are going to do now is we are going to work anti-clockwise. So we are going to work towards this side. Okay, let me just take out my stitch marker so that it makes way for what I am about to do. Okay, so do you see what the front looks like and what the back looks like? Okay, so now we are going to work anti-clockwise. So we just get into that double crochet post right there, and we are going to work 4 double crochets all in that very same spot. So there is no need of first working along your edges and then getting back to work into them again. No, you're just going to work into the half double crochet posts and working 4 double crochets into every half double crochet post. So even here you go to the next half double crochet post and you work 4 double crochets all in the very same spot. You can work more or less depending on how you want your ruffles to fold. Once again, I'm going to get into that next half double crochet post and I'm going to work 4 double crochet stitches all in that very same stitch. Now you see that we are headed over to the top of our petal, and at the top we have single crochet stitches that we worked. Okay, first I'm going to work into this double crochet post, so I'm going to work my 4 double crochets all in this very same spot. Like you can see, and then I am going to work 4, let me see, yeah, I'm now going to work 4 double crochets into every single crochet stitch. Okay, start off from there, work 4 double crochets into every single crochet stitch all the way across until you come to the end of your row. Now at the end of your row, remember we had 10 single crochets across before we get to the other side of going down our stitches. Okay, sorry, our petal edges. So in here you're just going to keep working 4 double crochets into every stitch all the way until you are down here where the stitch marker is, right there. That's where I'm going to meet you and then show you what to do. So once you are here, what we are going to do now is we are going to work our frills along the edge of this petal that is now on top of the next petal. So I'm just going to take out my stitch marker, just like we were doing previously. The only difference is the other time we were going up, now we are going down. Okay, so in here I'm going to make sure that I insert my hook into both stitches on either petals, and in here I am going to work 4 double crochets. So it's easier when you fold your work, you fold the 2 petals, so in that way it's easy to get a piece of or a bite of both petals. So like you can see, into this next stitch I will insert my hook and make sure that I pick up a stitch or a loop of the next petal, just like that. Just do not attach your petal far away because it will curve your flower. So yeah, it's just taking up just among the first stitches along this edge. So just like that. So when you fold your work like this, it will be easier for you to take up a stitch on the next petal rather than when you keep working it flat. So you see, it's easy for me when I fold it like this. It's easy for me, and it's even easier to see which stitch you should take up from the next petal. So here you're just going to keep picking up like that, and okay, so you work 4 double crochets in there. When you get to the next stitch, you do the very same thing, pick up a loop from the next petal and this very same stitch that you're working, then you make sure you work 4 double crochets into that very same spot. So this is clearly what we are going to do all the way until we have 2 stitches left to get to the bottom of our petal. So you just keep picking up a bite of the next petal and this petal. This is how it looks like at the back. It looks like these stitches were actually hand sewn together. The petals were hand sewn together before we work the stitches, but this is the best trick you can use to save you so much time and energy. So here we are. You pick a loop of the stitches on the next petal and also into this stitch on this petal, and then you work 4 double crochets into that very same spot. So we are doing this until we have 2 stitches to the bottom of our petal, and let me let you guys get there, then I'm going to get back and show you what to do. Now guys, once you get here where you have 2 stitches, what you're going to do is you're going to do the very same thing, taking up a piece from either side, and then here you're going to work 3 half double crochets all in this very same spot. Okay, and then into the very last stitch you will just work a single crochet. So here, once you have finished working all 3 half double crochet stitches, you will work a single crochet into the very last stitch, just like that. Now you're going to turn your work, but first let's see what the very first ruffle, what the very first petal that has frills along its edges looks like. So this is how your work should look like. Now we need to go back up, okay, right up to this point here where this petal now starts from. Okay, we need to get back up here, and what we are going to do to get back up is we are going to work 1 slip stitch into every stitch until that point where the 2 petals meet or start to separate. Okay, you can skip a few stitches when working your petals, but do not skip them in a way that it affects your ruffles. Just work 1 slip stitch into every stitch all the way until you get to this point right here. So once you are here, like you can see, what you're going to do is, I believe this, I went past the point by a few stitches, so I'm just going to take out a few slip stitches to get back down slightly so that I am in the right position. Okay, yeah, so when I am here now, I am just going to pick up from here right into that very first double crochet post that is in line with the point where these 2 petals ended or stopped to meet. Into that very same spot, the very same half double crochet post, I am going to work 4 double crochets. Then I will go ahead and get into the next half double crochet post, and I will work 4 double crochets. Then all the way up when I get up. Okay, so now this is clearly what we did on the other side. It's just that now I am teaching you guys to get back up without having to cut your yarn and then, you know, reposition where the next petal has to start. So yeah, when you get at the top of your petal, just like that, after working 4 double crochets into every half double crochet post, you are now going to work 4 double crochets into every stitch along the edge of this petal all the way until you get to the point where this petal meets the next petal. Okay, so in here you work your 4 double crochets, and then you do this all the way. You're going to work 4 double crochets into every stitch here, just like we did right here, all the way until down. So here you're going to work all the way until down in the manner that I did these frills of the previous petal. And then yeah, you get back up and go around the next and go around the next and go around the next all the way until you get to this point, and here you work a slip stitch into the double crochet stitch that will be in line with this. So that's how you work your flower, and the result should look like this. So you can use this flower on any tops that you have. This is the next tutorial I'll be showing you for this top, and then you can also use it on a bralette to have it look like this. Thank you for watching. Bye.